Throughout the metro, millions of people go to work each day. And for many, it is a way to pay the bills. But for a very lucky few, it's a career where they're following their dreams, working with passion, or just having a lot of fun. Here's Daniel Novick with this week's edition of Cool Jobs.
Twice a week, Eric Binkowski puts on makeup for his job.
I've never got my eyebrows even in 7 years.
He got here after responding to a Craigslist ad 7 years ago.
It specifically stated that there was a troupe looking for performers, musicians, artists, storytellers, anything else like that. They just didn't say what the job was.
Binkowski has performed magic in restaurants and bars, fortune telling and improv, but he had never been a clown until the Craigslist ad audition. He got the gig, a gig for an audience unlike any he had experienced in his career.
I had a misconception about what classifies as sick child.
Eric Binkowski at Children's Medical Center in Dallas is known as Dr. Knock Knock.
Don't eat it. Did you just give it? She looks hungry. All right.
Clowning for children who have little to laugh or smile about.
There was a clown much wiser than me that who does his work and used to say, in every sick child, there's a child who wants to play.
This is your mom.
That's my daddy.
Your dad's a lady? Oh my God.
No.
It is a tough job for Dr. Knock Knock and his partner, Dr. Scribbles. Many children don't quite know what to think about the makeup-wearing, red-nosed, goofy doctors with big feet.
Sometimes I'm funniest 6 feet away, and that's where I'm going to be the funniest. And other kids, will come right up to you like there was no boundaries and give you a big hug.
And it turns out what Binkowski does here, bringing light and cheer and joy to a child, also illuminates his own life.
It's actually the brightest part of my entire week. I do a lot of jobs outside of here, and I do them because if I was to get a regular 9-to-5 job, I wouldn't be able to do this.
Binkowski says every once in a while he's tempted by a job with a 401k and health benefits.
I'll go on an interview and I'm like, nah. I sit there and nah, this is not what I want to do. And immediately I'm just like, it reinforces everything in my mind that this is where I'm meant to be.
And so this is where he is. Like any other job, there are good days and bad days. But a bad day here is seeing a child in pain or suffering.
You just have to kind of remember some of the better days and pull them out of your pocket and kind of read it and be like, oh yeah, I remember that. And I remember when I really made that kid happy. Or when a parent said, oh, I haven't seen my child laugh in 3 days. That's going to keep them warm.
We say, oftentimes negatively, that a job defines a person.
They get cold.
But in this job, in the most positive of ways, Dr. Knock Knock has come to define Eric Binkowski.
A lot of times people don't get to express themselves in their job, and I know a lot of people, you don't have to put on a funny face or a red nose to do that, but for me, it seems odd to say this is the actual real me.
All because of a Craigslist ad, Binkowski can be himself. And the kids, just for a moment, can be themselves, happy children, the way children should be.
Doctors and nurses' main goal is to take care of what's wrong with that child. And they do an incredible job of what they do here. It's something that I can't do. I can't take care of what's wrong. But while I'm here, I can take care of what's right with that child.
In our Cool Job segments, we've shown you such things as a flight surgeon and a Segway tour guide and an acting coach. So being a customer service representative where you spend your day updating phone and fax numbers for doctors' offices, that probably seems far from cool until you find out more about the woman who does the job and why she's grateful to have it. 1 minute, Mary Kebe could see the world. Bright, vibrant colors of everything and everyone. And then, 1 minute later, darkness.
When I first lost my sight, it was a nightmare.
29 years ago, Mary says her sister was going through a divorce.
Her name is Mary Ann, and mine is Mary Sue.
On Christmas night, her sister was supposed to pick up the kids from a wrestling match.
She was busy, so I told her I would go pick them up.
So Mary Sue, not Mary Ann, was there when it happened.
When I got out, there was this man standing there, and he wasn't there when I drove up. And he asked me if my name was Mary, and I said, yeah. And when I said that, he just threw this chemical in my face.
1 minute she could see the world. 1 minute later, darkness.
It was a mixture of Drano and something else that only affects the mucus parts of your body. We think that it was meant for her, but I was where she was supposed to be.
That darkness for Mary became all-encompassing.
I was afraid of my own footsteps. I had never been in the dark. I was just afraid of everything, and I felt like life was over.
A rehab therapist from the State Commission for the Blind came to Mary's house.
She was the best thing that could have happened to me.
Slowly, surely, the all-encompassing darkness started to lift.
She taught me to feel like a woman again, to be strong.
Over the following months and years, her rehab continued. She worked various jobs until coming to the Dallas Lighthouse for the Blind last year.
It's an inspiration because I'm working around people like me, and it's amazing what they can do.
The work is nothing special, making sure phone and fax machine numbers are up to date for doctors' offices. But what is special? Mary does it alone. Just a computer's voice and her fingers on the keyboard.
29 years ago, I didn't even want to live blind. I didn't want to live, period, after I lost my sight. But now, I live a normal life.
Dallas Lighthouse offers jobs in a range of fields for those without sight.
We're the largest employer for people who are blind and visually impaired in North Texas. We've got about 235 associates here.
From the manufacturing plant to business services, through work, through having a job, the blind are given a sense of purpose.
They're excited about it, making their own paychecks, buying their own food with their own money, and having independence again.
Being here has made me even stronger, and I feel like now that I can accomplish anything.
1 minute she could see the world. 1 minute later, darkness. But in the minutes, the hours, the days and months and years since, she is seeing the world again in a way that none of us could understand, but in a way all of us could learn from.
Now, I don't look at people. I listen to people. I think losing my sight has made me a better person.
A North Texas man has inspired a workout program based on his time in the armed forces. Daniel Novick takes a closer look at his cool job.
This may look like any other gym with weights, barbells, and padded floors.
Rotate up and bring your arms straight up. Arch your back.
The man who runs this place, Alan Shabaro, is unlike any other gym owner. Shabaro was a U.S. Army reservist on 9/11/2001.
I didn't want to be on the sidelines. I was a drill sergeant at the time. As influential as a drill sergeant can be, I wanted to get in the fight.
He transitioned to active duty and trained to become a member of the U.S. Army Special Operations Forces.
The unit that I was with was a direct action hostage rescue team that we were on. I was on the assault team, I was on the sniper team. Basically, we went after high-value targets. And we had specific people that we had to go after, and once we brought them in, then we moved on to the next one.
It was during those long nights in Iraq when Shabaro would often think of what he would do after the war. He was inspired by the man he calls one of the biggest influences in his life, Master Sergeant Walker Booth, a man who was killed in 2009.
He told me once, what good is all the knowledge I have if I can't pass it on? That stayed with me to this day.
After 3 tours of duty in Iraq and missions throughout the world, Shabaro was honorably discharged in late 2010.
There you go, good.
6 months after leaving the Army, Shabaro opened Tier 1 training facility in McKinney, a place where people can train just like how he did in Special Ops.
We don't cancel classes for the heat, we don't cancel classes for the snow. People get used to it, they adapt. And once they do, they start realizing things about themselves.
He has success stories, including those who were borderline diabetic when they came to the gym.
Probably about 6-month mark, by the time she hit that, she had another set of blood work done, and lab results came back, and not even a sign of it.
And he has seen success in the most elite of those he has trained. Right now, Shabaro has 3 of his athletes in Armed Forces Special Operations Program.
I'd like to say I have some part in it, but it's definitely, they're there, they're doing it, and it's on them. They deserve the credit.
Shabaro doesn't tout what he did for our country or what he does for people who come to Tier 1.
I don't like to be loud about the things that I do. I let my actions speak for themselves.
But his actions on the battlefield,
Raise up, clear your knees.
and in the gym are making a difference.
The influence that I try to make, the impact that I try to leave on people, everything that I have, all the knowledge that I've accumulated over the years, does no good if it's not passed on.
Okay, so Teresa Bell is an acting coach here in Dallas, and apparently she says all people either need to have a job, a career, or a calling. Spencer, you have her, right?
Yeah, she's awesome. And her job, her career, is her calling. Daniel Novick takes a look at this week's cool job.
Pamela, I'm in love with you.
In a small studio just south of downtown,
I'm not stupid.
student actors are struggling
Oh God, okay, stop, seriously.
or shining,
I mean, I get it.
but they are all learning from Teresa Bell.
And so I want to see that be just a little bit more difficult.
Teresa started acting in the late 80s, getting her Screen Actors Guild card from Oliver Stone, and then moving to LA. She was in films and TV, but family reasons brought her back to Dallas in 2000.
I actually got a job working at a law firm.
She instantly knew something was missing.
If you have a creative soul and you're an artist, whether it's painter, writer, actor, dancer, anything, musician, if that energy is blocked, if it doesn't have an outlet, I think really bad things can happen.
She said she became depressed, found inspiration from one of her biggest influences, her acting coach.
He had such an impact on my life, not just as an actor, as an artist, but as a woman. As soon as she turns it on, I really want it to freak you out.
So she followed in his footsteps.
It was kind of this big, giant experiment.
Love is a wish that hides in your heart, and
12 years later, the big, giant experiment is now a full studio with 5 classes a week filled with dozens of students.
black and white movies.
The first thing you learn is that acting isn't easy.
We're taking words on a page that don't mean anything to them and assigning meaning to them. And in order to make that happen, I mean, the only way I know to make that happen is to use very personal issues from the actor's life.
As a result, acting is very emotional.
Are you sorry she's dead?
The art of acting is difficult. It requires you to be exposed and vulnerable in ways that I don't think most people are comfortable with.
In these small, intimate classes where people are exposed, are vulnerable, Belle is able to become incredibly close and connected to her students. Students who, like her, have a creative soul that might be bottled up by the outside world.
Coming here with just nothing more than their passion and a dream, and just being able to watch them do that is really special.
Yay!
She learned from her acting coach that these classes are about so much more than show business. Now she's teaching just as she had been taught.
That if I could give my actors a fraction of what he gave me, I have lived an accomplished life.